Hey everyone, so this was a pretty interesting book that I read yesterday, and I could say I'm happy with the book. This was a very good informational read. Even if I was thinking, yeah, how am I gonna use this stuff? But I just like reading it. I thought it was a cool read. So we're gonna talk about the parts of the prefrontal cortex, and we can start with pretty much the same order that they went in. And first is the medial prefrontal cortex, and this area, you make decisions off of past decisions. So this area is strictly connected, not even strictly, it's just connected to the hippocampus. So, you know, the different parts of the brain, they're pretty much connected. Some aren't, some more than others, whatever. And, it's connected to the hippocampus. So it remembers what happened and it makes judgments off of that. That's what the medial prefrontal cortex does. So that's something really cool. And next is the one that's right above. Well, I could just tell you, it's right above your nose, and it's called the orbital prefrontal cortex. And this area, it's mainly used for making cause and effect. So this area, it just tells you, when you think, you use this area when you're thinking, is this good or is it bad? And not even from the past, but strictly for the future. So with gambling, you gamble and you say, wow, if I put this money in, what's gonna happen? That's pretty much the orbital prefrontal cortex, and that's one that I really like because I use it often. Think about some things for the future. So that's cool. It's cool, and we could talk about the rest, but I want to go to my favorite one. Man, my favorite prefrontal cortex, the ventral prefrontal cortex, and it's pretty much when you think of a brain. Actually, no, brain is a neocortex. Okay, just the ventral prefrontal cortex. Now, this area is like on the top kind of part. So maybe around where your hairline is. I'm not sure strictly where the anatomical structures are at, but hey, it's there. So the ventral prefrontal cortex. This one makes goals off of things that you see and hear, and that's pretty much what the prefrontal cortex does is make goals. Executive functions. It just makes goals for you. Like, hey, I want to make this video right here. That's pretty much a goal, but you just don't like set it as a goal in your mind. So with the ventral prefrontal cortex, the importance of it is that with this, like, I would say vision wouldn't matter as much if we didn't have the ventral prefrontal cortex. Simply because how would I make a goal to do something? If I can't even think of the thought. Like, there's probably some evolutionary stuff that'll happen in the next 20,000 years, I would say. But I can't think of those thoughts right now. Like, I can't think of the same way that humans will think 20,000 years from now, and nor can humans 20,000 years ago think the same way that I'm thinking now. So that's something cool. But I feel like I'm in a good stage right now where I could pretty much do a lot with my brain. So we had a good point. And the ventral, also, this is correlated with honestly everything. Just think about anything with your vision and anything that you want to grab. Not necessarily grab, actually. That's grabbing is the caudal prefrontal cortex. So that one's also important. So if you want to grab something, you look at it and it's like you place a little marker in your head of where you want to grab. So then the caudal prefrontal cortex, it goes to it. So that's what that one does. But the ventral, this one is so dope. Like, I'm definitely using this stuff. And I feel like I can manipulate it in a way to I make videos on it to activate other people's brains. So that's kind of cool, but that's actually really cool. That's like master manipulator. Except I don't have to do nothing but act a certain way. So that's really dope. And the prefrontal cortex, what's it about as a whole? We could talk about that. So, like, as I've stated already, with the prefrontal cortex, we make goals. I would say that's pretty much what executive functions are, is just goals. So, it's kind of on the line of like, yeah, and then it's like, nah. So it's like on a thin line of, is it really goals or not? And I will say yes. I would say yes, because with intelligence, if you know the basic definition of intelligence, is to complete a goal. And I will say that's actually, I'm confident. That's what the prefrontal cortex is for, to, you know, do my goals. So that's something really dope about the prefrontal cortex. Cause without it, my goals, they wouldn't be all the way. I wouldn't even be able to set a goal, I should say. That's why, mammals, I could say we're kind of lucky. I haven't went into much about the brain of like reptilians. Actually, now that I think about it, I've seen the picture of it, but that's beside the point. But it's dope being a mammal, especially being a Homo sapien. So this was the neurobiology of the prefrontal cortex.